Okay, guys, good evening. Steady Eddie is here. And the first thing, issues with cameras and audios and all that kind of stuff. So, can someone tell me, how is the sound and how is the vision? Okay, just do me in a little bit first of all. David Coleman, nice to hear from you. Okay, I'll just go through the names first of all. Expat Pete, David Gibbon, Leeds, Joseph Dowick, Martin Ryder, nice to hear from you, mate. Martin Ryder, something come up at a massage parlour, yeah, it's quite possible, yeah. Flores, I'm just going to skip forward. Can someone tell me, is it sound okay? David, okay, David Coleman is, yeah, all is good there. So is the sound and vision pretty good? Bo DeZephyr, great to hear from you, mate. Sound and vision. Now, I think I've finally got it right. I'm using this Realtek camera, right, for the audio, but I'm using the, what do we call it? I'm using the, the built-in thing for the vision. So I think I might have just got it right after all that. Okay, so FO needs it. Let's just skip through the chat a minute. Dixie Normus, nice to hear from you. Neil Fleet, nice to hear from you. Ian UK, Bo DeZephyr, Martin Ryder, live from Monkey Command and Control. Sean Young, Steady Eddie, the man, the myth, the legend. Glenn Hendricks, awesome Steady's Eddie. That was nice to hear from you, mate. Stuart Marsden, good evening, Eddie. Enjoy watching your antics in Thailand. We'll be hopefully back out there in the near future. Good for you, mate. Good for you. Okay, I mean, now the last video that I've done, I'm on the island of Koh Tao right now, okay? I am on the island of Koh Tao, and it's good. It's a nice place. There's a lot of young people here. It's a beautiful island, and it's really, really good. I've been here for about 4 or 5 days now. Nice and relaxing, no problems whatsoever. It's an island. It's a tropical island. I mean, you may say, for what reason do you go to a tropical island? Do you need a reason? A tropical island is a tropical island. Okay, today was a little bit drizzly, but I still managed to go out in the bars, and it was nice. The beach is absolutely fantastic. I like it here. Okay, it's all about travel. So it's not a place to come if you're a monger, but then I didn't come here for that reason. If I wanted that purely, I had to just stayed in Pattaya or Bangkok. Glenn Hendricks, David Coleman, okay, Catching Comfort, Seamus Doherty, Ian UK, your hair's a bloody mess. It's the old punk rocker look coming back. Martin Ryder, pictured a bit grainy. Well, I don't know. I think that could be the least of the problems. You know what I mean? As long as the sound's okay and whatever. I'm not using the webcam camera. I'm using the sound from the webcam, but I'm using it's a bit complicated to go into. I've been having a few technical issues. Wells 32, thank you for that comment. Jack, bloody hell, Eddie, have you had a massive electric shock? Your hair is coming. My hair goes whichever way, it wants to go. I don't worry about it. I mean, seeing a bloody bald man. I mean, don't forget, in the olden days, as soon as a guy starts losing hair, he gets paranoid and he starts denying it. I'm not losing hair, I'm not losing the hair. It's, it's just an illusion. But, nowadays you see so many young men who are bald, so who cares? As long as your health's all right, who cares what your hair looks like? Okay. Simon Bridges, hi from Bangkok. Please say hello to Kesson for me, thanks. Okay. Hello to Kesson. Okay, hello to Kesson. Let's see, U.S. Marine. Yeah, okay, thank you for that. Dixie Normus, what's the spin account for this? I don't do numbers. I had me fun in Pattaya and Bangkok, and really, I've had me fun. And now it's travel. If I was purely motivated by knocking up the numbers, yeah, then I would have just stayed in Pattaya and whatever. And whatever. I'm motivated by other things. I want to see beautiful islands, beautiful landscapes. I mean, at the end of the day, you can have all you. I'm not a I'm not a bloody obsessive, SEX addict. I'm not at all, mate. I like landscape. I've had all of that over the years, and now I can take it easy. If I was really, really that desperate for a woman, I'd just go to other places and go, well, there's other places coming up. There's Koh Samui coming up quite soon. No, I'm not desperate for the shag. Don't worry about it. Let's see. David Coleman, you're right about the hair. I hate these guys that lose their hair and then grow a damn ponytail. Okay, I'll put your comment on there. Good. David, you're right about the hair. I hate these guys that lose their hair and then grow a damn ponytail. Okay, yeah, absolutely. Stuart Marsden, are you going to go to Koh Phangan, Ed? It's on my to-do list next time. Be interested to see if it's weird. Well, I am going to Koh Phangan. I am. I'm going to go to Koh Phangan. I was looking at the ferry times and prices today. I will be going to Koh Phangan next. This place, I have actually done a few videos on this island here, but I haven't got around to uploading them yet. But this is nice. This is worth a visit, Kotal. It's worth a visit. The hotel I'm staying in is bloody good. You'll like that one. You really, really will like that one. And but next I'm going to be off to Koh Phangan. I'm happy. I'm happy with my travels up to now. I really, really am. So no problems at all. Who's that? Oliver Stoller. Ed, I'm on the National Express coach from London to Manchester. You were the one that made me consider coach travel in the UK. I've avoided the rip-off train fares. So nice for the helpful tips. Okay, thanks for that, Oliver. Good. London, from London to Manchester. Good for you. See where I live in the southwest. It's about 4 or 4.5 hours by National Express coach, and it's reliable as hell. It really, really is. If I had a flight from the airport, right, Heathrow Airport, I would not trust the trains. I've never known the bloody National Express to cancel, but the trains, they cancel left, right, and I just wouldn't trust them. I'd rather do it slow but sure, and go by the coach. Ian UK, I want to know your top 5 films of all time. Well, we're not actually talking about that tonight. We're actually talking about this is a celebration of what I believe. You don't have to agree with me. What I genuinely believe to be the greatest year in the whole history of movies. Right now, I'm not talking about the golden age of Hollywood. That year was probably 1939. When that's by historians. They say that was because it had Gone with the Wind, it had The Wizard of Oz, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, a lot of other stuff in that one year. It was a pretty exceptional year. But I'm talking about a more modern year. Well, it's still an old year, but but a more modern, more my generation. Okay. Let's David Coleman. Eddie, tell us, why did you leave Liverpool? My family is from there. I left Liverpool for economic reasons. Because in the 1980s, it was a bit of economic reasons. There was mass unemployment and there was a terrible recession, and I had to move south to find work. Really, that's basically the way it was. Let me see. Pattaya Newby, okay. Pattaya Newby. Budget, please, Eddie. What does 1 month set you back over there traveling? It's a massive question, that, mate. It's a massive question. Now, if you go back on my list about a couple of years or more back, I actually done a video. How much would 2 weeks in Pattaya cost you overall? So there is one on my list. As for the one, but there's a lot dependent on that. Depends how much you drink, how much you do the rumpy bumpy. You know what I mean? Who's this? Okay. Ben Leno. I'm thinking of going to Thailand in the next 2 weeks. I can go with a border for 4,000 baht, including quarantine and PCR. Okay, well, good for you, mate. Good for you. Pinball. Citizen Kane that year. I think you'll actually find that was 1941, that one. See, I do know a bit. Okay. Boulder's effort. Is everything open there now? I'm thinking Cambodia over Thailand right now, as the restrictions are far less in Cambodia. Well, how do you get to Cambodia? I mean, would you not have to fly to Bangkok first of all. I suppose maybe you could go from your own country, wherever that is, whether it's America or Canada or Britain. You could go from your own country maybe to Singapore and that. But either way, I mean, if you wanted to fly direct to Cambodia, it's easier said than done. By the way, the April the 1st, apparently. What do you think of? Thailand is. You don't have to have a PCR test when you depart from your own country, but you do have to have one when you arrive in Thailand. I don't know. I still don't think that's very good. I wouldn't be excited about that. I mean, it's all right. So you don't have to pay for one PCR test. You still have to have one when you're here, So whatever. Yeah, here's one. In UK, is it okay getting your money out of these smaller islands? Actually, it is. These ATMs quite convenient, and they do work very, very well. You do have to pay about £5 in English money for each withdrawal, but the rate that you get is fairly average, really. So they are actually quite efficient. Bo de Zephyr. Watch Boys in the Black stuff in 1980s Brookside to see why I'd left Merseyside in the 80s. Absolutely, mate. That was my era. Gives a job. Okay. Okay, let's see. Carl Volkert, how was Charney at Crete? Lovely. A place to take your missus. She'd absolutely love it there. Okay, Sheen Rana, okay? Nice to hear from you, Sheen. Nice to hear from you, Shane. Hi, Eddie. Loving your vlogs, mate. Keep them coming. Okay, nice to hear from you. Checkbound. Oliver Stoller. Have a good trip. Oh, he's talking to somebody else there. Absolutely. Martin Ryder, prepaid Visa card, avoid ATM charges. Okay, that's fine. That is absolutely fine. I've got a credit card myself, and sometimes I only really use it for hotels and whatever, but the ATMs if you need them, okay? Catching Comfort. Favorite Bond movie, Steady, okay? Favorite Bond movie. I don't know. We might do that one on another night. Anyone else here? Did I miss it? Apologies if I missed anybody. Okay. Now I'm going to crack on, okay? I'm going to crack on with tonight. We could talk about travel and all of this kind of stuff, but it gets a bit bloody boring after a while. And like I said, I don't know about you, but I'm not really, really excited about the prospect of, so you don't have to have a PCR test before you get on the airplane in the UK, but you still have to have one when you arrive in Thailand. So it doesn't sound very exciting. It doesn't sound like a great deal of progression for me. It really, really doesn't. Lieutenant, Bo de Zephyr. It's the day 5 test put me off. Are they still doing the day 5 test, or are they doing an antigen test on the day 5? I want to get there and find that this test on arrival, but then I want to relax after that, not spend 5 days worrying about the next test. I don't blame you, mate. I don't blame you. Lieutenant Columbo's Glass Eye, nice to hear from you. Carl Symphony, okay. Who's that? Archie Westmoreland. John Holmes, what a great actor. Okay, I can see what genre of movies you like, mate. Okay, absolutely. Okay, ex-Pappy, you missed CB Media. Shout out to you. Well, he's a great guy, great guy. Really, really great to meet him. Listen, I'm going to crack on. With the movies. Okay, so my generation of movies. I've always been a movie fan since the 1970s, since I was a young lad, kind of obsessed with the movies. And I learned quite a bit about them. But the greatest year in the 1970s was an amazing decade for movies. You had so many wonderful movies, but not every movie not every year could you pick out 10 marvelous movies and say they came from that same year. There's only one year that I can really pick out 10 marvelous movies, and that's why I would say that it was the greatest year ever in the whole history of movies, okay? So here we go. According to Steady Eddie, the greatest year in the history of movies was 1971. That was my golden year. That was a year when I would say that was the most amazing year ever in the whole history of movies. Okay, so there you go. We got that one out of the way with. So what do you think of that? I had even Somerset. Okay. Your travels, you still? No, I haven't. No, I haven't. Cash Singh, Pork Pie, the movie. Ben Leonard, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. No, I think that came from later. Okay, so I'm going to give you 10 reasons why I believe that the year 1971 was the greatest year in the history of movies, in the modern era, of course, even though it was 51 years ago. Now, all of these movies are from 1971. It's possible that a couple of them would have been released in 1972. Or they may have won awards in 1972, but they were all absolutely bona fide 1971 movies. And we're going to kick off 10 movies from 1971, the greatest year in the whole history of movies. Okay, Catching Comfort, what a hair. Okay, and number one. Number one, let's kick off with this one. And oh my God, what a movie. Okay. This movie was a classic, iconic, dramatic, powerful, and controversial violent thriller. It was a movie that is as powerful as a bullet from a Magnum 44 handgun, the most powerful handgun in the whole world. And this movie begs one question. Do you feel lucky? Well, do you, punk? There you go. Oh, magnificent. Absolutely wonderful movie. So this was one of Clint's finest hours, okay? Outside of these spaghetti westerns, this was Clint's finest hour. Absolutely. I think it was his greatest thriller movie. So here we go. Someone's putting Jenny or Agatha naked. Let's see. Well, we've got loads of movies here, but let's talk a little bit about Dirty Harry, okay? Because it was such an iconic movie. Absolutely. Now, the first Clint movies I seen on TV were the spaghetti western, which I fell in love with. Now, I seen Dirty Harry about 5 or 6 years after it was originally released, because I was too young to see it when it first came out. These were ex-certificate movies. Now, this is a very, very controversial movie. Because of its violence, and also I think it was a bit of a politically motivated film as well. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I must admit, I actually seen Dirty Harry after I seen the 2 sequels. I know there's more recent sequels, but you had Magnum Force and The Enforcer. And I actually seen those films before I seen this one. And both of those were hugely enjoyable movies, but I was gagging to see the original groundbreaking classic Dirty Harry. And I seen this film about 1977, which is about 5 or 6 years after, well, about 5 years after it was released. And I seen it at the cinema. I actually played truant from school to go and see this movie. And I must admit that I must confess that on the first viewing, I actually wasn't that keen on it. I didn't think it was as much fun or as exciting as the 2 sequels. Magnum Force was a hugely enjoyable movie. The Enforcer was a good film as well. Dirty Harry was, family. Well, let's understand something. For those who went to the cinema in the 1970s and watched films on reruns a few years after they were first released, it was a different system then. You didn't have all the digitally remastered stuff that you have nowadays. You were watching a film, right, that had been around the cinema for years, on a projector. And that film was probably knackered and warped and scratched and bruised and everything. And when I seen Dirty Harry, this film, it looked to me like a rough around the edges. It actually looked like a low budget movie to me, really. And it wasn't as instantly likable as the others, But the fact is, though, that that movie was it had something that all those other sequels simply didn't have. It had class. It was a politically motivated film, basically, because obviously the violent crime was rising in America and other places, and really, Dirty Harry represented the guy who you wanted to be to go out there and shoot the bastards. You know, never mind this red tape and pussy, just go out there and shoot the bastards. So it was. It was a controversial movie, but it was amazing. And of course, it was made by Don Siegel, who collaborated with Clint on other movies like Coogan's Bluff and a few others. And but this was the most well-known collaboration. And Clint, absolutely magnificent. So anyway, anyone got any comments about Dirty Harry? What do you think about Dirty Harry? Come on, someone, what do you think about this movie? I think it's one of the greatest movies of all time, and it is the greatest movie that Clint was in outside of the spaghetti westerns. Let's see. Okay. Okay. So anyway, that was Dirty Harry. I've seen this movie many times over the years, and the more I see it, the more I realize what an amazing film what it is about it. Yeah, Jeremy Esquire. Yeah, Kipak says, Cash Singh, Dirty Harry, great movie. Jeremy Esquire, one of my favorites, Dirty Harry. It was an amazing movie. It's not the most fun film to watch, but really, and is a fun fact about Dirty Harry, which you may not know. Everyone knows that Clint was not the first choice for those spaghetti westerns. But did you know that Clint was not actually the first choice for Dirty Harry? Now, I've heard other names thrown about since then, but if you go back years ago, it was said that the actual original choice to play Dirty Harry, would you believe, was a aging Frank Sinatra. He was actually the one, because Frank Sinatra had been in a film called The Detective about 3 years earlier, and he played a good part. But when he was offered Dirty Harry, he sustained a hand injury, and it was felt that the film was just too physical for him. But he was actually the original choice. But really, when you watch Dirty Harry, I mean, Clint is such an amazing superstar, amazing star. It's hard to imagine any other actor playing Dirty Harry. So there you go, the first of the 10 marvelous movies from 1971. Okay. There you go. Pinball. Dirty Harry is a great film with memorable lines and scenes. Absolutely amazing. And the way Clint delivered those lines. What does he say when he's assigned to the case? And the mayor, John Vernon. I mean, that's a lot of great actors in it. John Vernon says to him, and Callahan, we don't want to repeat what happened last year. To which Clint replies, well, when a man's attempted rape, I shoot the bastard. And the mayor questions him and says, attempted rape? And Clint says, well, when a naked man chases a woman through an alleyway with a butcher knife and a hard-on, I figured he is now collecting for the Red Cross. Okay, marvelous. Absolutely classic of a movie. Okay, anyone else? R.J. Austin, The House That Dripped Blood with Ingrid. That was bloody good. It's not on my list, but loads of lovely stuff. Martin Ryder, 1970s. I've got to put this up there. Martin Ryder, 1970s hairy beavers. Oh, absolutely. I love all this. I'm not actually including all of those hairy beaver movies, all those vampire movies, which I love so much. But I do like hairy. And, I'm thinking maybe if I print my own T-shirts, maybe, how do you think about, I do like hairy? Is that a good catchphrase? Just not the same now, is it, when they bloody, shave all the womanly bits off? Not the same. It's just not the same. There we go. Let's see. Hide that one. Leeds, it was a great movie. Who's this one here? The Crag 777. It's amazing watching Dirty Harry right now. You can go online and look at those same neighborhoods in Cali, and it's god awful. I think you got California, right? And it's god awful. Couple of homeless and up there. Oh, Jesus Christ Almighty! Jesus Christ Almighty! The whole world has gone down a pan. Okay, but Oh, Paul Hoskin, welcome to Paul Hoskin anyway. I love hairy muffins. Okay, love it, absolutely love it. A nice hairy muffin. Who's that? Brian Street. We're getting smutty now, aren't we? It's something like Robert De Niro. Gemini Square. It's something like Robert De Niro. It's actually no one dies like Clint Eastwood. Okay, or whatever. Yeah, okay. Let's see. What have we got here? I want this one here. No, that's coming up the wrong one. That's coming up the wrong. Oh, that's the one that I meant. There, that's the one that I meant. Brian Street, dirty, hairy. That sounds like a kind of movie I'd like to hear. Let's see. David Coleman, California has gone to shit. Oh well. I think I'll give it a miss somehow anyway. Okay, so I'm going to cross the pond here. I'm going to cross the pond. Now we all know that the greatest movies made. We're actually American movies, but you'd be surprised on my list here. Top 10 movies of 1971, the greatest year ever in the history of movies. Half of them are actually British, and when you consider the British film industry was in a terrible bloody state at that time, that's really saying something. So we're going to cross the pond now. We're going to cross the pond. We're going to come to Britain. We're going to start off in London and then put on a dark Mac with a Cockney accent to travel to my hometown of Newcastle while still keeping a Cockney accent, okay? And basically there is one. It was this. Come on, it was this. This is probably the worst impression of him that you've ever heard. Poppycorn's got it. He's got it. The worst impression you've ever heard. You're a big man, but you're in bad shape. With me, it's a full-time job. It was, of course, the amazing classic Get Carter. What a wonderful, wonderful, amazing movie that was. Well done, Poppycorn. Well done. Absolutely. So what do we think of this movie? Martin Santori's got it. Martin Ryder's got it. Get Carter. It was absolutely amazing film. This was a 1971 movie. And do you know something? In terms of its adult nature, I would still say that it probably knocks spots off most of the stuff that you see around nowadays. So, what made this a great movie? Well, let me just tell you something. When did I first see this movie? I obviously too young to see this because this was another X certificate. I first seen it. It was shown on the TV. I think it was a Sunday night in 1976 when I was only 14 years old. Right? I was only 14 years old when this film was first shown on the TV, and it left me stunned. It was an adult movie, like, you know, it was such a powerful movie. I won't say, if you've never seen it, I'll tell you what happens at the end, but it left me stunned, this movie. I thought, I've never really seen a film like this before. Don't forget, before that, I'd grown up watching movies like Jason and the Argonauts, you know what I mean, and Mysterious Island. So when you sit down and watch a movie like Get Carter, but it was, some people regard it as the greatest British thriller of all time. I mean, I wouldn't argue with that. I mean, there have been some great British thrillers, but at the time when the British cinema was in such a bad state, for them to make a movie like this was absolutely really wonderful. Let's say anyone else. David Coleman. Wow, I never saw that much. You must watch it, man. You must watch it. I exhort you to see it. Carl Timpany. I always thought Kane was a wooden actor. He's not to everybody's taste, but he is a superstar. But Michael Caine is a very likable actor. I mean, a lot of stuff. But he did actually play quite a terrifying. Basically, what this film is about. It is the oldest story in the book. It's a revenge movie. You know, he travels. He's a London gangster. He travels to Newcastle to for revenge by his mother. For his brother, who he believes is murdered by gangsters, and he's quite a terrifying figure. And what's interesting about him is, you know, you tend to be on his side because he's one against the crowd, and yet really he's no better than the villains. He's really an evil character in his own right. And there's nothing patronising this movie. I think a lot of the influence of this film comes from the harsh reality, the kitchen sink dramas of the 60s. There was a lot of TV writers involved in this sort of stuff. But it's a wonderful movie. Michael Caine, Britt Eklund, she gets her knockers out, even though she hasn't got much knockers. A lot of tasty ladies in this film. Michael Caine is awesome in this film. He's absolutely awesome, and Ian Hendry plays a great part. In fact, the whole film, it's quite simply one of the greatest British movies of all time. Let's see. Who said that? Pinball Get Carter is very gritty and hard hitting. Caine is superb in it. Absolutely. Even the little things that you see in this movie, the music is really quite haunting. The photography in this movie, everything about this film it's really perfect. And even now, all these years later, you could watch that movie, and if you've never ever seen it, it would still pack a real punch. I've never actually seen the remake of that movie, and I don't really want to see it, to be honest with you. Get Carter, absolute masterpiece, wonderful movie. Let's see. David Coleman, he's a great actor. What's the movie Seal? One of the best films ever. Well, I think that was the one that made him famous. One of the best films ever. Popcorn, yeah. Popcorn. When he asked for the straight glass in that working men's club, absolutely. I mean, what is one of the iconic lines of Get Carter? I think it's when he's testing the water. He's checking out some old faces from the gangster world in Newcastle, faces who he thinks are going to be involved in the death of his brother. And he goes to the races, doesn't he? And Ian Hendry there, he was a fine actor. I think he was one of the Avengers originally. He was a fine actor. He plays a character called Eric, and Michael Caine takes Ian Hendry's sunglasses off him and looks into his eyes, and he says, I almost forgot what your eyes look like, Eric. Piss holes in the snow. Absolutely wonderful stuff. Absolutely wonderful. Amazing movie. Carl Sympathy. Fantastic movie, though. So atmospheric. Absolutely. Wonderful film. I think the last time I seen Get Carter, I was in a hotel room in, would you believe, Ecuador. So there you go. Absolutely. Alf Roberts was in it. He absolutely from Coronation. So there you go. Number 3. So I think we agree that Get Carter was an amazing movie. Sean Harris, doesn't he throw a guy who was in Coronation Street off a multi-story car park? Personally, if it was me, I'd bloody throw the whole lot of Coronation Street off the top of a multi-story car park. I'd have thrown bloody Enos Sharples and Hilda Ogden and all of that. I'd have thrown them off the roof, personally, but that's just another story. Paul Hoskin is being spotty again. Walkabout with Jenny Agutter. What a lovely hairy muffin. Actually, I think I'm right in saying that film was actually made a couple of years. It was maybe released in 71, but she was very, very young, so we won't even go there. But she did have a hairy muffin. Yeah, bold as ever. Rule number 1, the social club. Never ask for the straight glass. Okay. That's rule number. Rule number 1 is in the social club is watch out for big 20-stone Stella. Okay. So, a couple of great movies from 1971, the greatest year ever in the history of movies. And now we're going to go back across the Atlantic for another marvelous thriller, very, very much of its time. A thriller which is not as well known as maybe Dirty Harry, but I believe actually once was the supporting, because after when you went to the cinema in them days, they had 2 movies on. They had the main feature and the supporting one, and I think at one time the supporting movie, if I was to say an actress who played the part of a prostitute called Bree Daniels and won an Oscar for it, which movie would I be talking about? Anyone know that one? Santori, she was wearing hairy knickers. Anyone know that one? Okay, let's see if we get to this. Movie number 3. Movie number 3 is coming up. Alan H. Okay, Alan H has got it. Well done, Alan H. The movie was, of course, Klute, an absolutely terrific movie. Now, this, I think I'm right in saying that it did actually go. It was actually supporting Dirty Harry for some time. But this movie was an outstanding movie in its own right. What was popular, becoming popular in the 1970s, was the documentary style of filmmaking. I don't think you'd seen that before. Yeah, Pinball, Carl Timothy, Popcorn, absolutely all got it right. It was Klute. This movie was one of those films. When I seen it, first seen it at the cinema in the 70s, it was the kind of documentary effect. I didn't find it that appealing, but I've seen it years later, and it is a film that improves the more you see it. Basically, it's about a detective, Donald Sutherland, and what a wonderful actor he was. Absolutely amazing. And he travels to he travels to New York to check out the death of the alleged murder of a friend of his, and he gets in touch with a prostitute played by Jane Fonda, who he believes has some information about this. It's a very, very slow moving movie, but it's fascinating, the documentary style. And what it is about this, it was a very, very adult movie. Jane Fonda played an amazing part. She won an Oscar for it. Absolutely wonderful part. But also, the drug influence, all this kind of stuff. It was also a very, very adult movie, but it's a film that really, really improves the more that you see it. Anyone else? Yeah, who's got this one here? Let's see. I stood beside Donald Sutherland in New York watching the marathon runners going through Central Park. I only realized that as I turned to leave. Absolutely. There you go. Yeah, it was an absolutely wonderful movie. Oh, a wonderful movie. It doesn't have the classic status of some of the other movies of that same year, but it's a film that you can watch again and again. And Jane Fonda, really, she's not the most likable person. She's not the most charming personality, but my God, what an amazing actress! What an absolutely amazing actress! She really, really deserved that Oscar. Martin Ryder, Jane Fonda, and Barbarella are fantastic. Yeah, I love Barbarella as well. And don't forget, Barbarella was just made about 4 years earlier than this, so she really, really proved that she could act in Klute, and it's a fine film. One of those films that even all these years later, somehow manages to look more modern and more adult than a lot of the stuff that you will see around nowadays. Okay, so anyway, let's go back to that was Klute at number 4 in the on the list of the greatest year ever in the history of movies. Let's have a look. Daryl Fox, Eddie, where are you in Thailand at the moment? Are you heading back next winter? British winter? I don't know. It's too far ahead, mate. Too far ahead. I'm actually in the island of Koh Tao right now. I'm in a nice, comfortable little old hotel room. I'm having a nice beer here. And I had a lovely meal this afternoon in a very nice place, which I will do a review of. Let me see now. Yeah, who's this now? Someone's being smutty. Sansori, he was in Don't Look Now with Julie Christie. Apparently they had real rumpy pumpy on screen. It certainly looked that way. That's also one of my favourite movies, that, by the way. Wonderful film. Yeah, let's see. Martin Ryder, Hanoi Jane. Yes, she was she had involvement in the protest, and apparently she actually was. I think the story was that she actually met up with the Viet Cong. I don't know. I don't even want to go there. But she was a controversial character, not to everyone's taste, but she was a wonderful, wonderful actor. Check bounce. Well done, Roger Vadim. Deflowered Bridget Bardot and Mary Jane Fonda. I think I'd have bloody done it the other way around, personally. Okay. Paul Hoskin. Everyone has a hairy muffin in the 70s. Absolutely. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? It was unthinkable for women to shave their parts in them days. Whatever happened. Daryl Fox, enjoy the content, mate. Keep it up. I'll try to. I do keep it up, especially if I see a hairy muffin. Okay. Martin Ryder. Koh Tao has more backpackers than Russian generals. Okay. Okay, Santori. Don't say G.I. Jane, Ed. You'll get us. I won't say G.I. Jane. I won't mention that. Isn't it amazing? I mean, 50 years ago, that wonderful actress Jane Fonda was winning an Oscar. It was winning an Oscar, and then 50 years on, is Will Smith giving Chris Rock a slap. Christ Almighty. And they thought Jane Fonda was controversial. Okay. Cash Singh, sorry, Ed, you got to go to Leicester playing Man United. Enjoy your trip. Okay, enjoy. And got to go to Leicester playing Man United. Okay, well, enjoy your trip anyway. Hey, good for you anyway. And bold as ever, in the 1970s, it was unthinkable for a man not to wear a gold medallion. Okay, medallion man. I think that was that an 80s TV series or something. Daryl Fox, is there many backpackers in Koh Tao at the moment? There are. There's a lot of young people. There's a lot of young people, but they're harmless enough. My own opinion is that I love islands, especially tropical islands. I love traveling through islands. Absolutely wonderful. And the fact I'm never ever put off by an island when people say, "Oh, it's all full of young backpackers." To hell with them. Islands are islands. You shouldn't allow young people to force you not to go there, to hell with them. They don't bother me. I won't bother them. I've met a couple of older people here in this island, and it was, and it's good. It's a good feeling there. Not a problem at all. Okay, Martin Rad. Okay, so we're going to go on to, what are we up to now? 1, 2, 3. We've done 3 movies up to now. And how about this for the 4th movie? Okay, this 4th movie, it was in terms of the old S&V. Don't forget you'd had to, family entertainment, before that. But come the late 1960s and the early 70s, each movie that you've seen had to be more shocking than the last one, and this was a truly shocking movie. It was a shocking movie. It was probably an American movie, but it was filmed in Britain, in Cornwall. And it had a lady who became known for flashing her knockers around. Anyone? I can't think of a famous line from this movie, but she became synonymous with flashing her knockers around in the 1970s. Anyone? Santori. Santori's got it. He's got it. Well done, Santori. It was Straw Dogs. Okay, what a powerful movie that was. What an amazing movie that was. So Martin Ride, the Wicker Man, that come a little bit earlier. So yeah, Pinball's got a Straw Dogs. Now this movie was a notorious movie in the 1970s. It was made by Sam Peckinpah. It was more famous for making westerns. He made what I believe is probably the greatest western of all time, outside of those spaghetti westerns. He made The Wild Bunch. Absolutely amazing. Very talented film. He became known for his slow motion violence techniques. But this movie, Straw Dogs, the actual star of this film was Dustin Hoffman. But personally, I think Dustin Hoffman's overrated. This film became notorious for other things. It gave a boost to the career of Susan George, who loved getting her knockers out. It became notorious for this. It's really quite, and even to this day, it's quite a shocking scene. 4 letters. I don't want to say the word because it's a bit of a nasty word, but let's just say sexual violence. I mean, it was terrible stuff. It became notorious for that. If anyone's ever seen this movie, you'll know exactly what I mean. And it had problems with the censors, had problems with that. It was a very, very, very adult movie. Susan George played a marvelous part in it. It was also known as extremely violent film. It was made by Sam Peckinpah. And people remember this film. They went to see it. It achieved notoriety for these reasons. What was the most forgettable aspect of this movie was actually the star, Dustin Hoffman. He plays this I think a maths professor who marries an English girl, and they're living in this house in Cornwall, and he's at loggerheads with all the local people and all this kind of stuff, and it all turns very, very nasty, and they end up besieging his house, and guns are going off and all this kind of stuff. But Dustin Hoffman is very, very forgettable. Nobody remembers Straw Dogs for Dustin Hoffman being it. I don't. It's more memorable for other reasons. But it was a wonderful movie, absolutely. And I must admit, when I was only about bloody 14 or 15 when I seen this film on one of its reruns at the cinema, and it kind of frightened the life out of me. Sam Peckinpah was an amazing filmmaker, and he just had the knack of, he had the knack of frightening you by what you think you're going to see, but you don't actually see. It was a very, very scary and very violent and very, very adult movie. Yeah. What else have we got here? Popcorn. Susan George, yes, please. Oh, yes, I still love her. She was one of the first ones to get in. Even before Straw Dogs, she appeared naked in movies. I think a film called The Strange Affair as far back as 1968. But oh yes, she had a cracking pair on, a real pair of knockers before silicone became popular. Let's see. Martin Ryder, Susan George, Roger, I wouldn't mind. Sansori. Ed, you like films with shagging in? I used to, but no. If I watch a movie now, I want to, if I want to see that kind of thing. You've always got bloody Pornhub and stuff like that, haven't you? No, whatever. Not anymore, mate. If a movie's really, really good, then I want to appreciate the movie. I don't really need to see stuff like that. Let's see. Bold as ever, Straw Dogs was banned in the UK, wasn't it? No, I don't believe it was banned. I don't think it was banned. It did have problems with the censors. I think the censors had to withdraw the movie and make certain cuts in the movie, especially the notorious scene in that movie. But I think it did actually suffer from censorship cuts. Because it was when we did 1970. Actually, I think you can actually still get this movie on YouTube. On certain sites. I don't know if it's the complete version, but who's this? Tony Keeping It Clean, awful film. I turned it off. Peter Vaughan was evil in it. Peter Vaughan, he played the father of the thugs who were besieging Dustin Hoffman and Susan George in that farmhouse. Yeah, but he was superb. He was superb actor. Sean Harris, Sam Peckinpah directed David Warner in Straw Dogs and Crossover. Yeah, David Warner, another fine actor. He played the simpleton, isn't it? Who sort of triggered all the violence off. Yeah, absolutely. So Straw Dogs, how many movies got? We've got 30, Harry. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 great movies up to now. 4 out of the 10 great movies of the year. 1971. Absolutely amazing. So Straw Dogs gets a thumbs up from me. Fantastic movie. Who's this now? John, you should have come to Phuket 2 months ago. Pissing down over don't bother. John, you should have come to Phuket 2 months ago. Pissing down over the year. Don't bother. Okay, whatever. Well, I'm Phuket may be on the menu for me, but not just yet. I'm in the Gulf of Thailand right now. There's 3 main islands here. There's Koh Tao, there's Koh Phangan, and there's Koh Samui. And up to now, this is the only one that I've seen. This is a good little island. I want to see a little bit more of it. But next it will be Koh Phangan. So we'll see anyway. But Phuket, not worried about it just yet. Who's that? Pedosi, Midnight Cowboy, the music, I'm going where the sun keeps shining. That was a good movie. I wouldn't say that was before, wasn't it? I wouldn't say that was one of my favorite movies. It was a good movie. And I personally, I just think Dustin Hoffman is a bit of an overrated actor. Just my opinion. He's good, but I don't think he's that good. Okay, anything else? So we're going to go 15 minutes into the chat. Right. Now, number 5. Okay, I'm going to get another drink first. I'm going to get another drink. Actually. There we go. Yo. There we go. I'm spoiling myself. I'm having a nice glass of red wine. It's actually quite difficult to get in some of the restaurants and bars here. That's it's not the best quality, but it goes down nice. Lovely, lovely stuff. Lovely stuff. Okay. Let me see now. Okay. Let's see. Czech-bound, Welsh 32. 4 Celsius in Czech Republic. It was snowed yesterday. Oh, well, I'm glad that I'm in the sun. I'm actually glad I'm in the heat. Yeah, the biggest problem I have here is sweat. I leave this hotel at a daytime with a fresh t-shirt on. I walk a few minutes and all of a sudden I'm covered in sweat. That's the biggest problem for me. Okay, so we're going to go on to the next one, right? The next movie from the greatest year ever in the history of movies, in Steady Eddie's opinion. We've gone through Dirty Harry, Get Carter, Klute, and Straw Dogs up to now. So number five on the list, okay, of the top 10 greatest movies of the greatest year of all time. Okay, now I said, didn't I, that Straw Dogs was a controversial movie. It was a controversial movie, notorious for its S and its V, but it was not the most controversial movie of the year. No, it wasn't. There was a movie that year that outstripped everything when it came to controversy. It was a movie of S&V, a movie of gang violence and the old in and out. It was, anyone get it up to now? Anyone know? Santori's got it. It was, of course, Stanley Kubrick's masterpiece of mayhem, none other than the notorious Clockwork Orange. Oh my God almighty. What a movie that was. What a movie that was. Santori, well done. So what can we say about this movie? Well, Czech-bound, a bit of the old ultra-violence. Yeah, that's what it was. As this movie was infamous when it came out. Now, obviously, I was too young to see it when it came out in 1971. So in fact, I actually didn't manage to see this film until the mid-1990s. And do you know how I seen it? It was actually withdrawn. I think it was actually because there was some imitation. I think I'm right in saying that maybe some some violence was sparked off from this movie, and I think it may even have cost the life of somebody. And Stanley Kubrick, that amazing filmmaker, I think he himself was instrumental in actually withdrawing the movie, and you simply couldn't see it after its release. I think you could only see it, if you left the country. And I seen in the mid-90s, somebody had a videotape of it, which they brought from France. And that's how I see it. And I seen a very, very warped copy of this movie. But, that was the first time I seen it. And absolutely, you just simply couldn't. The mystique about this movie grew over you simply because you couldn't see it. It was banned. Let's just remove that one for a minute. Absolutely. Nick Ross, Czech-bound. I can hear Ludwig van right now. That's what he says, a bit of the old Ludwig van. Martin Ryder, why are they wearing codpiece? I don't know, it just seems a bit strange. Bo de Zephyr, Clockwork Orange was banned as well. I mean, I don't think Straw Dogs was actually banned. I think you could say it, but Clockwork Orange was the movie that became banned, and it was Kubrick himself who decided to withdraw the movie. Nick Ross, Clockwork Orange was banned in the UK back then. It was banned for many years. When was it unbanned? I think you might have been looking around about, I think it could have been the late 90s or the year 2000 when they actually managed to show it on TV because it was a notorious. Basically what it is, it's a very highly stylized movie. If you've never seen this, it was highly stylized with the Alex and the Drews. This young man who was obsessed with Ludwig van Beethoven, and apparently it made him descend into ultra violence. And it was slightly set into the future, this movie. And Alex and the Drews were a bunch of thugs who broke into people's houses and violated people and murdered them. And it was really, really dreadful. Now, it was notorious for its violent scenes. If you've never seen this film, or maybe you haven't seen it for a very, very, very long time, what you may not remember is that all of the famous images of this movie, the gang violence and all the highly stylized, the hats that they wear and all this kind of stuff, that was actually in the first third of the movie. This is quite a long film. It's about 2 hours and 15 minutes, this film. And all of that gang violence stuff, all the famous images of it. And by the way, when they commit all these terrible acts, usually they're singing single-on music like "I'm singing in the rain," all this kind of stuff. Very disturbing film, but all that takes place in the first 45 minutes of the film. The other 1.5 hours of the film after that becomes a bit laborious. It basically becomes a prison drama, but not a prison drama, not the conventional, predictable stuff. Getting knocked up in the showers and all this kind of stuff. It's none of this kind of stuff. Basically, it becomes more of a political stuff. Alex is clearly a problem. He's obsessed with ultra violence. He gets put into a prison because for the murder, and they perform experiments on him to try and get him to get all of the violence out of him. It's very, very, it becomes a political movie. The old political stuff about similar to Dirty Harry in a way. It's about time we done something about this. Not handle it with kid gloves. Let's get out there and shoot the bastards. And this young man is actually put into a prison where he's experimented on in order to basically get all the violence out of him. So it's a fascinating movie nonetheless. Who's this? Yeah, some people are saying that Clockwork Orange was banned. Pinball says Kubrick went through the film. I actually think that you're right, Pinball. I'm not 100% sure, but I actually think it was Stanley Kubrick himself. That wonderful filmmaker who maybe, because of the consequence, I think it might have even, I'm not sure about this, but I did hear that it actually, sparked, violence and maybe even it cost the life of somebody. And I think it was Kubrick himself who actually had the film withdrawn. Bold as effort. I believe Clockwork Orange wasn't banned, but Stanley Kubrick blocked it from UK release. Yeah, absolutely. That's what I heard. It was a wonderful movie, absolutely wonderful movie. Like I said, I first seen it in the mid-90s on a sort of warped video copy. And it's a fascinating movie, but I think really the fact that you couldn't see it added to its legendary notoriety over the years. Let's see, Sean Harris in the record store meets two girls, takes them home and does some better. Yeah, I remember that scene. Bloody good stuff. Bold as effort. Clockwork Orange looks very dated on rewatching these days. It probably does. Edward Butler, you must be older than me. Ed, I saw it in 1971, I think at Leicester Square, London. Cinema was packed out. Kubrick did with it. Yeah, that's what I heard. I did hear that. Because Kubrick was an American filmmaker, but I think he lived in Britain. I think a lot of his films were filmed in Britain. Space Odyssey, and also I think even Full Metal Jacket many, many years later, the Vietnam War movie. I heard that was filmed in the East End of London. Checkbound, withdrawn. It was withdrawn by Kubrick after copycat acts of violence. It was only on Kubrick's death in that. Now that makes sense. Thank you for that, Checkbound. Withdrawn. It was withdrawn by Kubrick after copycat acts of violence. It was only on Kubrick's death in 1999 that it was available for release there. Thank you for that. Yeah, no, that makes the most sense there. That makes the most sense. Okay. So Clockwork Orange, absolutely amazing movie. Like I said, I didn't see it. I didn't see it on its first release, but even now, it's still a highly watchable. A great film is a great film, and Even now, you can watch that movie and these stylish. I know it's very very sustained, but all the stylish, artistic images of Alex and the Drews and their dress sense, and it's still pretty amazing movie to watch. Nick Ross, Kubrick pulled the movie himself as he would not cut it. Absolutely, well, he was an artist. Yeah, absolutely, I can understand that. Okay. So, anything else? Let's see. Bold as ever, Clockwork Orange was filmed in a council estate in Bexley and Brunel University campus. Yeah, there was council estate scenes in that movie. I do remember that. The Crag 777, although the moon landing was filmed in Nevada, that's even more controversial than a Clockwork Orange. Absolutely. What's with The Devil's Oliver Reed? The Devil's Oliver, that's another 1971 movie. It doesn't feature on my list, but it was a fine movie. In fact, that is one of the few Ken Russell movies that I actually liked. A lot of Ken Russell movies I don't like, but I like that one. There was loads of teddies in it as well. I liked it for that reason. Ben Leno, I watched at the cinema in 1999. I think you're talking about Clockwork Orange. Absolutely, yeah. Mark Holly, just got home from grocery shopping and saw you live. Have you mentioned the 1974 movie, Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore? It became a TV series in 1970. I didn't know it was become a TV series. It became a TV series from 1976 to 1985. Vic Tayback, Linda Lamb. I haven't mentioned that. What we're actually talking about, Mark, is I actually believe, only my own opinion, that the greatest year ever in the history of movies is the year 1971. And the reason that I believe that is because I can't think of another year where I could actually pick out 10 outstanding movies in the 1 year. Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore. I seen that. Ellen Burstyn and Chris Christopherson. That was a Martin Scorsese movie. Absolutely fantastic. Wonderful movie. I mean, that was before Martin Scorsese became big, before he made Taxi Driver and movies like that. Absolutely terrific. So yeah, but a great movie. Absolutely. We're actually talking about 1971 now. So we've got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, got about halfway through these anyway. Yeah, let's see. Mark, I'm over 60, so yeah. Oh well, I'm going to be joining you soon, mate. I'm going to be joining you soon. Believe me. Full Metal Jacket. Peso. Full Metal Jacket filmed in Battersea Power Station. My daughter's boyfriend and father flew the helicopters in the movie. Really, really, really. That's amazing. Yeah, Kubrick had. You know, he was an American, but he had an obsession with Britain, didn't he? You know, so I think he lived there. I think this is where he lived. So many years. Let me see now. Mark Alex, 71 was a great year, absolutely. In case you missed it, up to now we've had Dirty Harry, Get Carter, Klute, Straw Dogs, and A Clockwork Orange. So there's another 5 to go. Let's see, where are we now? Anthony Chinson, thank you, Anthony Chinson, for that super chat. I really, really do appreciate that. That's very kind of you. £15. That goes towards the Steady Eddie Red Wine Fund. Cheers, mate. Okay. So we've gone over an hour. Right. Now, if you're a recent subscriber to this channel, let me just say that this is a travel channel. It is a travel channel. We like to talk things channel, but just a little bit of a break from that. I did live streams a lot while I was back in the UK, simply because there was nothing else to do. And it was, and you know, and basically I like to do other things. Sometimes the live streams but it gets boring talking about, you know, restrictions and all this, and you know, who's dropping PCR tests and who's, you know, how many numbers are going up, all this kind of stuff. So I like to talk about other things. And as people who watch the live streams will know, I have a real enthusiasm for movies, especially movies from my generation of the 70s and 80s. So this is what we're talking about now. There's a lot of people who appreciate movies, and well, we can talk about it. You know, it's all a bit of fun. That's all it is. All a bit of fun. So anyway, Nick Ross, if you like the Devils, you love Goya's Ghost with Javier Bardem. Got to have a strong song. I don't know of that movie, but it sounds bloody good. Sounds good. Check that one out. Who's this? SOS Chris. Classic one-liners in the Full Metal Jacket. Really? Do you know what? I wasn't really very, very keen on that movie. I didn't think it was one of the better Vietnam War movies. I thought Kubrick could have done better than that. Anthony Chinchin, enjoy your vlogs, Ed. Okay, thank you for that. The Last Picture, Iceman, The Last Picture Show was made in 71. Yeah, that's another movie. I mean, I'm featured 10 movies from 1971. There were other movies. You mentioned The Devils, also The Last Picture Show. There were other great movies from that year. Let me see. Okay. So about Roy Jones, Schindler's List. That great movie that came many years later. Ben Leno, Kubrick was born in England. I didn't know that. I thought that he was American. I thought he was. Oh, I didn't know that. So thanks for that info. Mark Oleg, here's a little bump for the travel fund and the over 60 fund. Good seeing you. Well, Mark, thank you for that, mate. I really do appreciate it. Very, very kind. That's $100 super chat, and I really do appreciate it. It will go to a good cause. I'll think of something anyway. Thanks for that, Mark. I really do appreciate your kindness. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. The Mongers. Who's this? The Crag 777, the Mongers Education Network. Okay. Absolutely. Who's it? Bobby Crush, you look like you've lost weight, Eddie. Congrats. Well, I don't know. I think I put it on, mate. I think I put it on, actually. Ronald Gordon, when we drink, we all talk bollocks. We even spell bollocks the wrong way. That's what we do. Roy Jones, Midnight Express. That came much later. Good movie. Okay, let's see what you had to do. Yeah, I've got a fan here. You know, a Secret Admirer. Okay, Secret Admirers. I've got the Crag 777. You lost weight, Eddie. You handsome devil. Now, talking about admirers. Admirers. This leads us on to our next movie. Okay, got a little bit of a hint there. Mark Olive, 1971, Patton, Lust for Glory with George C. Scott. That was a wonderful movie. I think he won an Oscar for Best Actor, didn't he, for that movie? And he turned it down on the grounds that it was degrading. He said that he wouldn't accept the award. Very talented actor, George C. Scott, but I don't think he was a very nice person. I believe I'm right in saying it wasn't George C. Scott supposed to be in a movie called Cape Verde. Supposed to be a Martin Scorsese's movie Cape Fear many years later, but he got thrown off the set because he was too aggressive, and I think he was he had altercations with people. Very talented actor, but not a very nice man. But yeah, Patton, Lust for Glory. Terrific movie, absolutely terrific, absolutely wonderful movie. Okay, Martin Ryder, Confessions of a Window Cleaner. Good movie, but it wasn't from that year. Okay. Now, how about this? Edward Butler, I think he sussed something out. Then, yeah, Popcorn sussed this one out. Secret Admirers. Okay, Secret Admirers. Now, imagine that you are a randy late night DJ and you have lots of admirers and a lady phones up your radio show every night and requests a song or a piece of music, and you patronize her and you play this piece of music, and one night you arrange to meet her and what does she look like? Okay, there you go. She looks something like this. Wow, what an amazing actress she was, Jessica Walters. This is another Clint. I haven't got a picture of Clint in this one. We know what Clint looks like, but this is what Jessica Walters looked like. What an amazing actress she was. Poppycorn's got it. Poppycorn has got it. Play Misty for me. Let's see. Let's see. Someone the state. No, whatever. Let's just fast forward on this. Let me see now. Sean Harris has got it. Sean Harris playing Misty. Poppycorn's got it as well. Steve McQueen, Bolton. No, that was not. That was another year. That was Deep Throat changes everyone's sex life. Not Deep Throat. So, what do you reckon of Playing Misty for me? We've already featured a classic from Clint, Dirty Harry, which is a wonderful movie. But Playing Misty for me was actually Clint's first movie as director, and he did a bloody good job of it. I think the film was actually filmed very, very close to where he lives in California. I think he lives in an area called Carmel, which is absolutely beautiful. So I think this film was actually filmed in that particular area. But what it is, he plays a randy DJ, and obviously this lady, called what is her name? Evelyn. Her name's Evelyn in the movie. She phones up night after night, requesting this song, Misty for me, and somehow he meets her. But it's not all that it seems. She turns out to be a bloody psycho after all of this. She turns out to be a real psycho. Okay, she turns out to be a real. So let's just move that for a moment. Let's see. Checkbound. Jessica Walters was a good-looking older lady as the matriarch in Arrested Development. I didn't see that movie, but fine actress, absolutely. In fact, I think Jessica Walters stole that movie. She stole playing. You could not have picked a better actress. I mean, she's absolutely. In fact, it's been said that Clint actually underplayed his own part in order to give her the limelight, because she was such a fine movie, and she's generally scary in this movie. She's she's both funny and very, very scary. Terrific movie. But it acts as a one. Now, many years later, a film called Fatal Attraction came out, which obviously borrowed the story of Playing Misty for me. But it just goes to show, be careful which women that you meet. Women can be bloody psychos. Let's see. Let me see. Bold as ever. Would she look like that, or would she look like 20 Stone Beryl from the Social Club? As long as 20 Stone Beryl doesn't come after me with a bloody knife, mate. Santori, Ed, it was my life so far. Every girlfriend has been a nutter. Poppycorn, wasn't there a scene where he played First Time Ever I Saw Your Face, Roberta Flack? It was written by Ewan McCall, who wrote Dirty Old Time. Yeah, there was. Wonderful. That's actually one of my favourite songs of all time. It was written by Ewan McCall, but Roberta Flack's version of it, I think it's played in a romantic, intimate scene when he's getting it on with Donna Mills, who's the love of his life in that movie. And wonderful. Let's see, Mark Olick. She passed last year. Are you talking about Jessica Walters, really? What a wonderful actress she was. She was, I think one of the last parts she played was actually in an animated, there's an animated series which you can get on Netflix called Archer. It's about an incompetent private detective, and it's very, very funny. I think she played Archer's mother, but her voice was, you couldn't buy that voice. The thing about an actor, it's all in the voice, really. And she just had the most amazing, powerful voice, Jessica. She stole that movie, absolutely stole that movie. And Playing Misty for me, it was Clint's first film as director. Somebody mentioned that Don Siegel, whoever it was, Don Siegel actually played a cameo role as the bartender. And but Jessica Walters, it was her movie all the way, really, absolutely. Sean Harris, he was also in The Beguiled. I think that was 70. Yeah, you're right. Clint had 3 movies out that year, and The Beguiled was the third one of them. That's the one where he plays a villain during the Civil War who turns up at a woman's convent, and they're all after his body. It was a good movie, but not one of my personal favorites. But it's certainly an interesting movie. Let's see. Nicholas, Debbie Does Dallas, a bit like Eddie Does Pattaya. Okay, I might make a movie. Out of that. Eddie Does Pattaya. Yeah, absolutely. Voters' effort. The better looking they are, the crazier they are. Sometimes you're better off with the plain look at ones. I met a few. Oh yeah, Jesus Christ. Yeah, Poppycorn has kind of taken the words out. I met a few nutters in Misty's Street. Nicely said, mate. Nicely said. Mark Ollie, 80. Jessica Walters was 80 when she passed away. Really. Fine. I can't really think that many movies she was in, but she was a wonderful actress. I think maybe she probably became typecast because she was so damn good in that movie. It was also said, by the way, that the actor Andy Robinson was also typecast because he played such an amazing part in as the villain in Dirty Harry. He was also typecast, really, and may have affected his career. Pedestal, the Magnificent Seven was a classic. Absolutely, the remake wasn't bad either. Who's this? Four-dimensional nomad. Wow, it's really you online. Much love and blessings to you. Three buses to the Parthenon. Kirk Douglas, Charles Neston, Edward Sweeney. Amazing. Thank you for the video. I'm Spartacus. And so's my 20-stone wife. Thank you. Okay, there we go. Who we got now? Okay. Where are we now? Okay, where are we now? Okay. Martin Ryder, Bridget the Midget. I think that song came out around about, a bloody annoying song. Absolutely annoying song. Okay, we're going to go on to the next movie here now. Now, we're getting a bit diverse here, okay? An important movie that came out in 1971. And basically, this movie won an Oscar for the theme tune. And it was quite simply one of the greatest theme songs of all time. A wonderful movie. He's got it already. James McCusker has got it already. When I say Poppycorn's got it as well. When I say the greatest theme tune, one of the greatest themes, it was so worthy of winning an Oscar because the movie wouldn't be the same. But it was a great movie in its own right with a great star. And that movie was, of course, Shaft. Absolutely wonderful. Absolutely fantastic. What a great movie that was. And this film, really, I mean, you didn't have many black actors in the movies, throughout that time. Obviously, you had Sidney Poitier, who was the most famous black actor. I mean, he was a fine actor, he was. But he was in so many movies. This movie, really, it was said that it brought the age of Sidney Poitier to a close, really, because this gave a boost to blacks in the movie. And what a wonderful movie this was, Shaft. I absolutely loved Shaft. I loved it for a number of reasons, quite a lot of reasons. And let me just move that for a moment. I love this for a lot of reasons. I love the character of Shaft. Now, Shaft started off in books written by a guy called Ernest Tidyman. And I read all the books and the movies of Shaft. There was a number of Shaft movies. The first one was probably the best, but then there was Shaft's Big Score and a few other things. He was a wonderful character. He was like a black James Bond, but he was a private eye and in New York. And the development of the character was absolutely amazing. But what was also amazing about it, they couldn't have picked a better actor to play Shaft. Richard Roundtree, I believe this guy was a former male model. Now, he didn't have that much of a career after Shaft. He became typecast. They did have a TV series that followed, but this guy had star quality written all over. You don't need to be gay to know that Richard Roundtree was a damn good-looking guy. He had amazing star quality. And I found many, many years later, they made a remake of Shaft. there's two remakes with Samuel L. Jackson. The second one was a bit jokey, which is all right. But the first remake they made with Samuel L. Jackson, sorry, I just couldn't accept it. Samuel L. Jackson is a good actor. He's a very, very popular actor. But no way does he have the kind of charisma to play a character like Shaft. He's a sex machine to all the chicks. No way. Richard Roundtree was the one and only Shaft. He was absolutely a superb actor. I couldn't imagine any other actor playing him. And I love that character. I read all the books. The writer, Ernest Tidyman, who developed that character, and I'm going to mention his name as well, because his name comes up again in this list for another reason. Ernest Tidyman, the Shaft novels, I love reading them. I thought they were great. The TV series I liked, but the movies were absolutely one. But this was the film that really kicked it all off. And of course, Isaac Hayes, Oscar-winning tune, absolutely wonderful, great movie. Let me see now. What have we got now? We've all got Shafted. Okay, Lewis Burnham, never mind movies. I'm with the best rock band of the 70s. I'm coming in with Jens. Okay, we'll do that another time. Mark Olin, Eddie, you were at the Acropolis of Athens. Yeah, I went to the Acropolis of Athens. I was there's videos on my list. They didn't get that many views, because a lot of people are not really that into. But yeah, I went to the Parthenon. I've got a couple of stories to tell about that, but they are there on my list. And Greece is wonderful. Greece is a wonderful, wonderful country, absolutely beautiful. I mean, the people that you meet there, I loved it. But I think I was there in the month of September. Absolutely fantastic. Pinball, fantastic theme song by Isaac Hayes. Absolutely, man. I think the movies I've discussed up to now only won 2 Oscars, and they were totally deserved. Jane Fonda deserved that Oscar for Best Actress in Klute, absolutely, and Isaac Hayes totally deserved that Oscar. That was one of the most classic, memorable theme songs of all time. Absolutely. Mark, right on, Mark. Okay, nice to hear from you. Fat Betty coming to Bataille this month. Super Stephen. Fat Betty coming to Bataille this month. I hope not. Bloody hope not. Okay. Checkbone, policeman. Where are you going? Where are you going, Shaft? I'm going to get laid. Where are you going? Okay, fantastic. I don't remember that many great lines from that movie. Funnily enough. But wonderful. I'd watch that movie again in a heartbeat. But like I say, that actor Richard Roundtree, I don't think he did much in his career after that. He wasn't a Shaft. I think he was kind of typecast, but they simply could not have. I mean, that was a movie which really, gave blacks in movie a big boost, and it was a wonderful film, absolutely amazing. Who's this? Ben Leno. I went to the cinema to watch Shaft remake in 2000. I walked into the wrong room and watched Snatch. Good for you, mate. Okay, so here we go. Where are we up to now? Anthony Chinton, booked a flight from UK today. Either there. 804 direct flight return overs. I think good price. Just having to get back to see my wife again after 2 and a bit years. Enjoy your red wine. Okay, good for you, mate. Good for you. I hope it all goes well for you. I hope it all goes well. Who's that? Pedestal Taxi Driver Robert De Niro, 1976, one of the best films of all time. Mark Ollick, Richard is still with us. Yeah, Richard Roundtree is still with us. I think you're right in saying he's met. Actually, I think Richard Roundtree actually appeared in the more recent remake of Shaft, which is done in a little bit. It's still with Samuel L. Jackson, but it's done in a more jokey way. There's 2 remakes of Shaft with Samuel L. Jackson. The first one was not good. Whereas the second one was done in a more jokey way. But I think Richard Roundtree actually appears as an old man in that movie, which is well worth. So the second, which you can get it on Netflix, of Shaft, is well worth a look. James McCluskey, Isaac Hayes was supposed to play Shaft. I never knew that. Just a curious question. Do you know currency exchange is still exempting 50? Well, I changed £50 notes. I changed £50 notes in Pattaya recently. So yeah, I exchanged. So as far as I know. I haven't heard anything different. Check bound, and yet Shaft still couldn't get a taxi in the rain at the end. Yeah, there is a scene in that movie, isn't there? There is a scene. I think it actually comes early on in that movie. Doesn't Richard Roundtree, hail a yellow cab, and the cab comes to pick him up, draws near to him, and then bypasses him and picks up a white guy instead. I think I'm right in saying that. I think I know what you mean. Yeah, that was. Oh Jesus. Checkbound. Richard Roundtree was also in from Dusk Till Dawn. I never knew that one. Quentin Tarantino movie. I didn't know that. Poppycorn. Marvin Gaye's What's Going Out was in 1971 too. Wonderful. Made some great music in those days. Let's see. Okay, now here's a comment which I don't know what to make of this one. Chuck Drake, I've got a sneaky feeling. One day your manhood is going to fall off. Yeah, okay, yeah, fine, whatever. Checkbound. Isaac Hayes should have gotten an Oscar for his classic "Suck on My Chocolate Salty," but bloody good song. There. Maybe actually, the first time I heard that song, I was actually in a grocery store and they were playing it on the radio. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. SOS Chris, not the new ones, Polymer, the old type. Paper ones, well, if it's an old type £50, they probably wouldn't accept it because the fact is, the Thais are aware of our currency, but they will not accept older versions. They wouldn't accept old £20 notes any more than they'd accept old £50 notes. And of course, you've got to, and of course they've got to be unblemished. If you're bringing notes from England or America or whatever, they've got to be unblemished, no rips or tears or anything like that. Absolutely nothing like that. So no, they're not going to accept the older ones. But I had the newer versions, the unblemished £50 notes, and I didn't have it there. I didn't have a problem. Poppycorn, Pimple, that's what remind me. Coolest guys in leather raincoats. Okay. Okay, so we're going to go on to the next movie. Now, up to now, we're talking about 1971, which in my humble opinion is the greatest year ever in the history of movies. There were other, of course, great movies made in the 70s and other eras, but I can't think of another year where there's 10 outstanding movies made in that one year. So I would opt for 1971. Now, up to now, we've had Magnum 44s, we've had ultra violence, and we've had all kinds of heinous things going on. But how about a bit of comedy? Okay, how about a bit of comedy? There was one outstanding comedy movie that came out in 1971. Okay, now Britain made such wonderful comedy TV series in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and beyond, whatever. But sometimes what Britain done is they made a film version of the TV series, right? And often the film spin-off of a popular TV comedy series wasn't really that good. But there is one that stands out that really did live up to it. In fact, it is an outstanding movie from 1971 in its own right. So which one do you think it is? Which one do you think it is? In 1971, a comedy film spin-off from a popular comedy TV series. Anyone? The best one ever, the best spin-off ever of all time. Poppycorn, Steptoe Rides Again. That was a pretty good one, but the one Chuck say no, that's not the one that I'm thinking of. How about this for a clue? If I was to say, "Oh, titty ye not, missus," who am I talking about? Wonderful comedy actor. Lerchio, wherefore art thou, Lerchio? Come on, you've got to get it. Someone's got to get this. best movie spin-off from a comedy TV series of all time. Okay, Martin Ryder's got it. Okay, it is of course Up Pompeii. Absolutely. Oh my God, I love that series. When I was only a little kid at the time, but it used to be. It was a comedy series on the BBC, but it was for adults. I think it was on about. I think it started about 10 o'clock at night, and it may even started at a 10:30 of a night time. And it would, in today's terms, it would be considered very sexist, which of course it was. But my God, it had these lovely, beautiful ladies with lovely cleavage. And Frankie Howerd was such a comedy genius. My God, what an amazing comedian that guy was. His facial expressions and everything, absolutely wonderful. So that was the best spin-off, TV spin-off of all time, really. Let's see, Sean Harris, Frankie Howerd, Up Pompeii, absolutely. Martin Ryder, nice jokes. I'll tell you what, the film version of that TV series was an X certificate. It had, obviously, Lecchio was a slave in Roman times. The film had, plenty of boobies. It had Juliet. It had the beautiful Madeline Smith. Oh my God, the scene when she comes naked out of the bathtub, and oh my God Almighty! And doesn't a Roman soldier burst into the bathroom while Madeline Smith is all covered in soap, and the soldier says, "Don't scream," and she gets up and she says, "I won't if you promise to stay." Very, very sexist stuff, but my God, absolutely wonderful. Beautiful women. I mean, what is there not to like about that movie? But Frankie Howerd, oh my, what amazing quality comedians they have. And the people that they look funny. I don't like all these comedians nowadays, all these bloody pretty boys. I mean, I can't take them serious. I can't laugh at a comedian who's young enough to be my son. You know what I mean? I can't do that. They are real comedians in those days. You look at the Carry On movies, and Frankie Howerd was in a couple of those. And you look back at them, and it was the amazing personality that these comedians had in those days that made it work wonderful. Let's see, Mark Ollick, Ali and the Family, All in the Family. I think that was an American series. Wasn't it? Let's see, Beau de Zephyr, any Carry On films in 1971? Probably, but I'm not offhand. Maybe someone, Carry On Henry, someone said. Poppycorn, Frankie Howerd put bums on seats and Tommy Cuba said was save his place. I'd say what, a lot of people say that Fawlty Towers or Only Fools and Horses were the greatest TV sitcoms of all time, but I think that Up Pompeii would give them a run for the money. I loved it because even when I was a little kid, I used to look forward to when that was on TV at night time. But like I said, the film version was worthy, really. It was really, really worthy of that. So, and it had some wonderful lines in it. I think it is a fan here. Here's a fan, David, my friend David R. From California, Frankie Howerd. David loves British comedy. He likes the goodies and he likes stuff like that. I'm sure. I believe you love. Yeah, that's right. I think you'll love. I think you'll love that sort of stuff. But what lines? The TV said it was a little kind of predictable each week. They had the same thing, but it was always fun. Didn't they have the Emperor's son who was? He was a bit of a jerk. He was a bit of a nerdish fella, and he was always falling in love, and he always, asked Lecchio for advice. He had poems that he'd written. One of the poems he come to Lecchio and said, "Look, Lecchio, I'm in love with this girl. I've written her a poem," and the poem went something like, "My dearest Petunia, your love has me in fits. How I would love to put my hands upon your..." Couldn't think of a word that rhymes with fits. And Frankie Howerd says, "Well, he's the only bloody one who can't." Absolutely. Really smutty humour, but wonderful stuff. Let me see. Checkbound. Up Pompeii was much better than the earlier. Funny thing. I've heard that. Yeah, you were quite right. You were quite right there. Absolutely. I think I've seen that film. A funny thing happened, and I've kind of forgotten about. Pompeii, wonderful. Martin Ryder, Are You Being Saved? Has to be one of us. That was a good one as well. What did we say about the BBC? They made some bloody good TV series in those days. Pinball, What's the Vampire Lovers on TV recently? Madeline Smith and Ingrid Pitt naked in the same scene. There's only one thing wrong with that scene. I'm not sandwiched between the two of them. That's the thing that's wrong. That's the only thing that's wrong with it. Okay. Mark Ollick, yeah, I'm not up on the BBC telly except for Benny Hill. Benny Hill was an ITV man. In fact, Benny Hill, he was a rich but very frugal man. He actually lived in sort of modest accommodation, but it was within walking distance of the TV studios. His TV series was his whole life, and the thing is that when he took his TV series away from Benny Hill, he had nothing else to live for. But Benny Hill was wonderful. Absolutely, a lot of Hollywood celebrities, people like Burt Reynolds and many other people were really big fans of Benny Hill. Wonderful. Let's see, Declan Amara. You still on it? It's always a pleasure when you're on. Well, thank you for that, mate. Thank you for that. Really appreciate that. Lewis Burlington, Benny Hill was great. Absolutely. I would not disagree with that at all. Let's see, David, our countdown until Thailand endemic. Let us all in. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Martin Ryder, Benny Hill, my colleague, yes, yeah, absolutely. And what was that one? Benny Hill is timeless. Benny Hill is timeless, okay? Who's this? Sean Harris. Benny Hill was in The Italian Job. And he played the one. What was his name in that movie? That's another one of those great movies featuring Michael Caine. One of my favorite movies of all time, actually. What was his name in that? Professor something god or there. He's bloody good. He liked big women from the Social Club. Okay, so let's see now what we got now. We have a couple more. I think we've got a couple more movies to go. So how many are we up to now? How many movies are we up to now? 2, 3. We're up to 8 movies. We've got 2 more movies to go. Okay, 2 more movies to go, and I better upload them, hadn't I? I better upload them. Okay, let's see. Let us see. Where are we now? Now, how about this movie? How about this movie? Okay, I just uploaded this. I should have asked a question of it before. But this movie called Villain. Has anyone heard of this movie? Paul Hoskin, Clitty Clitty Bang Bang. Okay, Paul Hoskin, Clitty Clitty Bang. I'm gonna look. Yours travels Lovejoy. Not exactly. I'm gonna get myself another wine here. I'm gonna get another wine. Oh. Okay, let's see. I better remove this one, hadn't I? I better remove this one. We've got a bit of a troll there, be a block user. There you go. Okay, Lewis Birmingham, Badlands. Let me see. James McCluster looks like Richard Burton. Does anyone know this? Well, I've obviously revealed the name of this movie. Looks like Richard Burton. It is Richard Burton and Ian McShane. Okay. Check bomb. Yeah, Ian McShane playing Richard Burton's secret gay lover who likes the S&M. Okay. Now, the reason I'm featuring this movie here, a lot of people may not have heard of this movie. It was called Villain. Now, we discussed Get Carter earlier on as being an outstanding British classic from 1971. But it wasn't the only one. This movie here, Villain, was also an outstanding. It's a lesser known movie, but I think it deserves to be a classic. Basically, Richard Burton, who was a classical actor, very, very famous actor, he didn't have his best time in the 1970s. He made a lot of crap movies in the 1970s, but this movie here was really, really outstanding. He played a London East End gangster. He had all kinds of. He had elements of the Cray twins and stuff like that in him. He was, but he played such a brilliant part as the gangster Vic Dakin, and he was a gay, well, you call it homosexuals in those days, East End gangster. And Wolfie, who was played by Ian McShane, was a bit of a ladies' man, but he was also the gay lover of Richard Burton in it. But it was quite a very violent film for its time. Let me see. Yeah. So anyone familiar with this movie? Let me just remove that for a moment. Anyone familiar with this movie? Now, the reason I'm including this is simply because I think it was quite an outstanding movie. It's not a famous film. In fact, in many ways, it's probably a bit of a forgotten movie. But it deserves to be a classic. Maybe it's not in the league of Get Carter, but there's a lot of great films about this film. Somebody mentioned there, Santoria, I think the car chase was filmed in Milton Keynes. I'm glad that you mentioned that. Are you talking about the robbery sequence? When they do an armed robbery, Vic Dakin and his hoods, they do an armed robbery, but the scenes of the armed robbery are very, very vivid and very, very austere and very scary. And I actually think if you look at the robbery scenes in this movie, and then look a few years beyond that, I think that this film actually influenced things like The Sweeney. It kind of brought a harsh new reality into crime. So it's not exciting. It's actually it probably influenced programs like The Sweeney, and it was a wonderful film. And the actors in it, Richard Burton plays one of his best parts ever. Ian McShane plays a great part in it. There's also some lovely female. I think Fiona Lewis, her name, gorgeous woman who gets a knockers out in that movie. It's worth seeing for that. And also you had actors like Nigel Davenport and Donald. So it has a great cast. This film was actually written by, would you believe, Dick Clement and Ian LaFrenas, who went on to write TV comedy like Porridge. But the actual dialogue in this film, there's some wonderful, wonderful dialogue in this movie. Is absolutely quite amazing. So I think Villain is a great film. It's about this East End gangster. It deserves to be a classic. Somebody here has mentioned SOS Chris, The Long Good Friday. It's going to be whatever. The Long Good Friday, that come many, many years later. I think that Villain is a better film than something like The Long Good Friday, personally. Let's see. Santori, he loved his mum. This is what I mean. There's influences in this movie. Richard Burton has an obsession with his mother. He loved it. He loved his mother. I mean, when he meets Wolfie, played by Ian McShane, he says, "Wolfie, I heard that you were asking about Mum." And very, very touching. And then he takes Wolfie upstairs and beats him up and has sex with him. Oh, crazy. Absolutely bloody crazy. But yeah, you're quite right. Mark Oller, the sex scene between the two was cut from the movie theatre release. Yeah, obviously you're familiar with this movie. I mean, it's a wonderful film, absolutely amazing. And it was like Get Carter, was very, very much ahead of its time. It wasn't afraid to break new ground. And what movies nowadays break new ground? I think if you've never ever seen that film Villain with Richard Burton, then I exhort you to see it. It's very much a forgotten movie, but it deserves to be a classic. It really, really does deserve to be a classic. And it's one of my top 10 movies of 1971. Who's this? Checkbound. When Burton loses his cool and beats his male lover, it's amazing acting. Oh, absolutely. Oh, Jesus. Isn't there a bit where with a beautiful actress, I think Fiona Lewis, I think her name's Fiona Lewis, she bursts into the apartment and to see Ian McShane, and then he comes out in his dressing gown, and then Richard Burton comes out and says, "Get out of here, slag." Oh my God almighty. God almighty. Who's this? Perosi. Ed, I bet you like Man in a Suitcase. He was the one who was always getting beaten up, wasn't he? Okay. Enkin Pay, better watch movies in colour than black and white. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree. Jonesy, is Jam's Bar still open on Koh Tao? I don't know that one. Where did I go today? I went to a bar today because a little bit of drizzle today. Where did I go today? I went to a bar today and I had a lovely burger and fries, and an Australian guy was running it. Let's see. Iceman. Ian McShane's father, Harry, was a footballer who played for a few teams, including Man United. Really did he? Really did he? I didn't know that. I did hear something about him being a footballer. Checkbound. You can find behind-the-scenes video of the making of Villain on YouTube. Burton talking with the East End locals and their kid. Really, I didn't know that. And here's another fun fact about Villain. Is that a lot of movies that were made then, someone mentioned The Devils, a lot of those movies run out of money in the 1970s because the British film industry was in such a bad state. And I think somebody said to Richard Burton during that movie that, you know, he's not getting paid because they've run out of money. And he basically said that, okay, well, pay me with the Carry On movies. Apparently, it was difficult to get over. But this was years before video. It was different to get hold of movies, and he actually got paid by with the Carry On films. And this is the story tonight. It sounds bizarre, but he had the backlog of the Carry On films for his own private collection. That was his payment. It may sound bizarre, but years later, Oliver Reed, who was in the Ken Russell movie, The Devils. He said years later that they never actually got paid for that movie because it was a lot of those movies just run out of run out of money. Poppycorn. Ian McShane is a brilliant baddie in Sexy Beast as Teddy Bass. Well, have I seen that movie? I know Ben Kingsley was in that movie and what's his name? Ray Winston. I don't recall Ian McShane being in that movie, but yeah, he was a fine actor, very, very fine actor. Mark Ollick, Burton was a great actor. He was a great actor, not to everyone's taste. He was a classic actor, and when it comes to the 1970s, he was in a lot of really duff movies, but he played an outstanding part in that one, Villain. Absolutely pure class, absolutely pure class. Okay, now we're going to move this. We're going to move this one here. I'm going to move this one. Okay, so how many movies have we got through up to now? I think there's only one to go. I think up to now, there's only one. I think we got up to 9 movies. So the final movie that we're going to do tonight. Paul Hoskin, the bar girls call me Sexy Beast until I take the mask off. Okay. Thanks for that, Paul. We're nearly on an hour now. Okay, we're going to come to the grand finale. Now, the 1970s was a wonderful era for movies, but it was a time when the film industry had given up on family entertainment until, of course, Steven Spielberg come along years later. But it was films with violence in them, and they were kind of shunned by the Oscars. I know Jane Oscar won an Oscar for Klute, whatever. But there was one movie that really swept the board in 1971, and the Oscars the documentary style, even though it was a powerful adult movie, they just couldn't ignore it. And I think a few people have actually sussed this one out. Pinball, Martin Ryder, Santori, Popcorn, absolutely. It was the wonderful movie called Let me see, where have we got it here? Have we got it here? This absolutely wonderful Oscar winner movie, which won no less than 5 Oscars. Absolutely 5 Oscars. There it is. The wonderful French Connection. Okay, now it seems to me that as soon as I upload something, I kind of, I gotta get this troll there anyway. Okay, so Santori, popcorn, pinball. Pinball is all uploaded. Nick Ross has said that no Steve McQueen movies. I don't believe he made any really notable movies in 1971. Not in 71, he didn't. The Godfather, that was another one. Okay, but the French Connection, this movie actually won 5 Oscars. It won Oscars for Best Film, Best Director, William Friedkin, who eventually went on to make The Exorcist, by the way. I don't know if you know that. Also the best adapted screenplay, the editing, which was amazing, and of course the richly deserved Oscar for the star Gene Hackman. It was absolutely amazing. I mean, really, who could forget? He has one of those unforgettable performances, simply magnificent in this movie. Gene Hackman, brilliant actor, playing Popeye Doyle, the hard-nosed New York detective who was obsessed with catching the French drug dealer. Okay, so there you go. So that was the 5 French Connection, marvelous movie, won 5 Oscars. Santori, nice seeing you there. Off for a bit. Oh, good for you, mate. Anyway, good for you. Great for your input tonight. I really appreciate that. Martin Ryder, Robin Moore, who wrote French Connection and Green Berets, lived in Manhattan. I stayed there as a child, but didn't meet him. Really? Okay. I don't need to talk about the book, but the adapted screenplay. The adapted screenplay of the French Connection won an Oscar, and that Oscar was from a guy called Ernest Tidyman. And this is the fun fact. Ernest Tidyman was actually the guy who wrote Shaft. And he wrote all the Shaft novels. Ernest Tidyman was the creator of Shaft, and he was the one who actually won an Oscar for the screenplay of The French Connection. It had some very, very, very strange dialogue, didn't it, The French Connection? If you go back to it, what was the Gene Hackman, he's dressed up as Santa Claus and he's chasing the drug dealer. He collars the drug dealer and he says the most bizarre lines to him, do you ever pick your feet, Poughkeepsie? I'm gonna tell the DA you sat on the edge of the bed, you put your fingers between your toes and you pick your feet, Poughkeepsie. It's crazy, absolutely strange, very, very strange dialogue. Apparently, Poughkeepsie is an area in around New York area, and it means something. I read about it once, but very strange dialogue. But I think with that film, it was one of those like Klute, which we discussed earlier. It was very, very aimed for the documentary style of filmmaking. I think maybe if you watch that movie now, you might see it as a little bit dated. But what really, really does work in it is the gritty locations. And it's a very, very adult movie, non-patronising in any way. And a film like that may seem more modern nowadays than some of the stuff that you see now. But what really, really does stay in the mind is the performance of Gene Hackman. He was such a wonderful, wonderful actor, and he deserved to win that Oscar. Sean Harris, Gene Hackman never made a bad movie. Well, he was a wonderful actor. I don't know. He was in Superman, wasn't he? And that was he was actually more like a Batman character than a Superman villain. Yeah, Popcorn. Do you know I keep getting erectile dysfunction in grammar adverts? Do you know I keep getting erectile dysfunction in grammar adverts? Before your vlogs, I don't know about that. Before your vlogs, I think I'm blocking somebody's spamming, stuff. Martin Ryder, Gene Hackman lived in Santa Fe. He's getting on a bit now, but a wonderful actor. Nick Ross, Vanishing Point, 1971. That was with an actor called Barry Newman, wasn't it? That was a good movie. I've mentioned 10 great movies from the year 1971. But there were other movies, around there. around that time as well, which have left out things like Vanishing Point, The Devils, a few other movies. Now, I know the 70s, there was a lot of great movies in the 70s, Taxi Driver, The Godfather, whatever, but I can't think of another year where I can actually pick out 10 outstanding movies in one year. And that's why I genuinely believe 1971 was the greatest year ever in the history of movies, okay? So this is what we've on for nearly 2 hours now. This is what this vlog's been all about. Now, it doesn't appeal to everyone, but I'm a movie fan. I love the movies. I like to know about them, and I like to share my enthusiasm with them. So I think we've had a bit of fun tonight. The top 10 is an interesting point. We left the last one, The French Connection, right? Now, this was the movie that swept the board. There 5 Oscars it won. A lot of those other movies I've mentioned, Dirty Harry, Get, they didn't win any Oscars at all. So the question is, if all 10 of these movies now were Oscar nominees, which one would you have chose? Would you still have chosen The French Connection, or would you chose one of the other ones? Which movie would you have chosen as the best film of that year? Let's see now. So anyone, Gene Hackman, Uncommon Valor, Mississippi Burning, Mark Oliver, those are your paid sponsors. They those erectile dysfunction things, no, they don't pay me anything. SOS Chris Zulu, no, that was from 1963. Bloody, one of the best movies ever. Nick Ross, yeah, it's another great movie that I have. Carnal Knowledge, Nicholson, 1971. I didn't personally like that film, but I know of it. I like all the other stuff. And also there was some great vampire movies in 1970. Lust for a Vampire. That's another one that you must see. Those wonderful British vampire movies where they had, women with really, really beautiful women with hairy fannies and all this kind of stuff. That's something that we haven't really talked much about. We've touched on the subject of hairy fannies, but we haven't really said too much about it. Mark Ollick. Have a great day and night. Okay. Thank you, Mark. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for your super chat. Really, really do appreciate that. And what time is it where you are now? I can't figure that one out. It's early Saturday afternoon. So have a great day, Mark. And it's great hearing from you anyway, mate. All the best. Martin Ryder. Zoltan, Hound of Dracula. Somehow I don't think that was one of the best movies. Not unless you're like, was it Dobermans or was it? It's another movie. Sean Harris, the Omega Man with Charlton Heston. Absolutely, that was another 1971 movie. That was excellent. So it was even if you disagree with everything I was saying, I think you will agree that 1971 was a pretty outstanding year for movies. It really, really was. I think it was the best one ever. This is interesting. I read this. Pinball says top grossing movie in America in 1971, as per Wikipedia, was Billy Jack. I've not heard of it. I haven't either. I've never heard of that. I did see that. I see what you. I'm reading what you're saying there. I've never seen that movie unless it went by another movie. I don't actually know of that film. Don't know who was in or not. Let's see. Mark, Alex, seeing Jonah Matthew and Medicare as we feels a bit old. Oh, I don't want to see them either. Big J. Who's this? SOS Chris. Now we know why you got a feature of hairy. I like hairy fannies. Okay. Let's see, what have we got here? What's happened to Jack Nicholson? I don't think he made many notable films in 1971. Martin Ryder, Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory. Oh, Jesus Christ. Do you know something? It is a fact. You know what? When Gene Wilder died a few years ago, a lot of the media made out that Willy Wonka was his best known movie. He was most famous. No, he was. Willy Wonka was actually a box office disaster at the time. It only became a bit of a cult movie when it was shown on TV years later. But Gene Wilder was most well known for the Mel Brooks movies, Young Frankenstein and Blazing Saddles. What is that? Sean Harris, Billy Jack Harper takes on Hell's Angels. I honestly don't know of that movie. I simply do not know of it. Checkbound, 1971, Vanishing Point, great counterculture movie with Kowalski trying to win a bet of driving his 1971 Challenger back to California in 2 days. Good movie, good movie. Penozzi, you're our new Greg Norman movie critic in the Far East. Thank you. Do you mean Barry Norman, perhaps? Let's see. Ricky Richards. Of course, the best movie in 1971 was Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I tell you what, one thing about Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, when you're watching that movie, it really, really makes you want a chocolate bar. Well, I'm having a Checkbound, 1971, Harold and Maude, a great story about a young suicidal guy's relationship with a much, much older woman. Yeah, I do remember that. I can't remember the name of the woman, but it was a good movie. I do believe in fairies. What a good name that is. My first trip to Koh Samui in the noughties was reminiscent of the Wicked Man. Okay, we'll take your word for that. Listen, I've gone on for 2 hours now. I've been totally self-indulgent, but like I say, this is not being a travel stream. This is a travel channel. I like to do videos about travel. There will be videos from Koh Tao coming up. So I've done the film, so I'm hoping to upload those pretty soon. But this has been a little bit of fun anyway. I mean, there's some people out there who love the movies. I mean, remember when I was in England, for a couple of years, and I was doing regular live streams. Sooner or later, you get tired talking about the same old stuff about restrictions and masks and who's demanding PCR tests. It all gets a bit. Sometimes you just want to break away from all of that. So this has been a breakaway stream, just to break away from travel and talk about movies. It's been a bit indulgent, but I've had a good response from people here, and I really, really do appreciate the guys here who turned up. We've had a bit of a talk and a bit of a laugh. I've really, really enjoyed this. I know I've waffled on a bit, but let's see. Sean Harris, Billy Jack, played by Tom Laughlin, also in a terrific Western called The Master Gunfighter. I've never heard of that one either. I just don't know this movie called Billy Jack. Paul Goodyear, play Misty for me, a Clint Eastwood classic, absolutely. Yourselves, Eddie Albert or Kukri live next. Who do you think I am? Gordon frickin' Ramsay? Absolutely no, not for me. Nick Ross, Candice Bergen and Ann Markets with Incarnal Knowledge with hairy bits flying all over them. Well, in that case, I will see it. If that's the case, then I will check that movie out. Pinball, it's been a great stream, Ed. It shows how relaxed you are. Okay, thanks for that. I really, really do appreciate that. Nice of you coming along. Okay, Martin Ryder, take care and watch out for the Ripper of Cold Cell. Okay, thank you. William Lowe, yes, most excellent. Thank you. Popcorn, enjoy tonight, Ed. You've got a great knowledge of these movies. I really appreciate you coming along, Popcorn. I know you like your movies as well. What we'll do, in the future, we'll do the live. When you're doing live streams, you can't just talk about PCR test and restrictions and all this kind of stuff. You've got to talk about other things. It's all a bit of fun at the end of the day. So we'll think about a few other things to talk about. As long as we're having fun, then it's okay. Nice to hear from you anyway, Popcorn. Okay. Mark Ollig, enjoyed the stream very much, Eddie. Appreciate that, Mark. Really, really do appreciate that. Anyway, great to hear from you, mate. Great to hear from you. Okay, next, who's this? Checkbound. Let's see, Checkbound, 300 Czech kroner. Thank you, Eddie. That was a great movie night. Hope you do another one. Maybe the best movie in a type of, genre in any year. That's interesting. I have 3 movies from 71 to watch from your list. Continue to have a great time in your island. That's brilliant, mate. That is absolutely fantastic. And thank you for that super chat. I really do appreciate that, mate. Anyway, really great. Okay. Mark Holler, yes, Julia Child Kukri. Oh, do a Kukri show. I think that'd be good fun, wouldn't it? A live cooking. Where did I do? But I'm going to do some videos. Sean Harris, thanks. Great evening. It's cold in Somerset, I believe that is. Oh well, keep warm, mate. Anyway. Papicon, be good to review another year, the 70s. We'll think of something, because obviously there's an enthusiasm for movies, and let's face it, there was some amazing movies made during that decade. So we'll talk about a few of the movies, and it's something that's good. As long as we've got enthusiasm for it and we all enjoy it, then you know what? Why the hell not? Yeah, we'll think of something anyway. Pinball, best year for music would be a good topic. Yeah. That would be a good year. The problem with doing music stuff, I mean, I'd like to show examples, and you wanted to copyright stuff, so it might be a little bit difficult, that one, but it's a good suggestion anyway, mate. Really good suggestion. Listen, I'm going to wrap this one up now anyway. I'm really going to wrap this one up because we've gone over 2 hours. I've done me bit. This, like I say, this hasn't been a travel stream. It's been basically. It's basically being about me sharing my enthusiasm and being totally indulgent about the movies. I feel passionate about the movies. When I was a young man, that's what I loved. I loved the movies, but I've discussed some of the films which have really, really made me love movies. Get Carter, Dirty Harry, wonderful. So it's been a celebration of what I believe is the greatest year ever in the history of movies. You may not agree with me. You may think another year from the 1970s was better. But the reason I'll say 71 is that there's no other year which has so many outstanding movies. Okay, so listen, I'm going to wrap this one off. Let's see. Be more Ron. Ed, would you recommend the Full Moon Party in Koh Phangan? I haven't been there yet, but you never know. You might see me turning up there. Wouldn't be surprised. Okay, Checkbound. Good night, Eddie. Have a great day tomorrow. All the best, everyone. Bye. Okay, thank you. And thank you for that super chat as well, Checkbound. Very, very generous of you. I really do appreciate that. Have a great day. Listen, guys, it's been absolutely fantastic, having your company tonight. Been a little bit drizzly today, but I'm hoping to get out and maybe get in a boat in the next couple of days and do some filming around the islands. I'm on the island of Koh Tao, but I will be going to Koh Phangan and Koh Samui. Plenty of videos coming up. Listen, guys, thanks for your, thanks for your input tonight. Thanks for your company. And thanks for the super chat, guys, Mark and Checkbound, and absolutely wonderful. So I'll say good night. Thank you. God bless you. Have a great day, a great evening, whatever you're doing. And I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.